Chinese balloons
Yeah.
flying over North America.
Yeah. Yeah.
Russia taking out one of our drones.
Sure.
Just this past week, the Chinese meeting with Russian leaders.
Yep.
In your Wednesday email, the Saudis, the Chinese, the Iranians. What's going on with China?
Of all, so what's going on with China? It's simple, and let me. I always say the Chinese government. Our beef is with the Chinese government, not the Chinese people, not Chinese culture, definitely not Asian Americans, right? The amount of hate that the Asian American community has seen in the United States since COVID is unacceptable, and we need to do everything to stop that. But we have to be clear-eyed, though. The Chinese government is trying to surpass the United States of America as the global superpower. This is not my opinion. This is not me collecting intelligence on the Chinese when I was in the CIA. This is what the Chinese have been saying about themselves in English since at least 2015. So we have to look at China and listen to what they're saying themselves. There's another fallacy that still exists here in the US amongst policymakers. We act like the Chinese government is an inferior adversary. They're not a near peer, they're a peer. And we have never been involved in a conflict since 1776 with a peer or someone who has a greater advantage than us. The new Cold War we fought with Russia was not the same. They did not have the military strength, they did not have the size of population, they did not have the economic heft. We did not have the level of interconnection with them that we do right now with China. So the adversary is very different than any adversary we've ever dealt with. So knowing that in the background, they're trying to surpass the United States of America as a global superpower. What do all these things mean? Now, look, what I do now, I work with technology companies that have a national security application. I'm on the board of a company called OpenAI. Many of y'all have probably heard of it, ChatGPT.
Are you reading my playbook here?
I'm sure we'll get to that. Yeah. But there's other technologies like quantum computing. Quantum computing is hard, it's difficult, but what you need to know about quantum computing is that whoever reaches quantum supremacy, the ability to have a true quantum compute, is going to be able to break all the encryption that currently exists in the world. That's the encryption on your phones, on your emails, in our banking system, right? And look, we're not prepared for that. Even though we haven't achieved quantum supremacy, we can still have encryption that defends against us. Now, most of the people here in this crowd probably old enough to remember Y2K. I was in college. I was supposed to go see my girlfriend in Dallas, but I didn't want to be on the road because I didn't know what was going to happen, right? Nothing happened. And Y2K was making sure our computer systems went from storing the year as a 2-digit number to a 4-digit number. There was actually a special committee on Y2K in Congress. The government spent $300 billion in 4 years dealing with Y2K, going from 2 digits to 4 digits. Quantum is like even more complicated than this. So why does this matter? The Chinese government has made some advances in quantum and quantum communications that nobody else has been able to do. So if we're going to ever get into a conflict with the Chinese government, the amount of things that the technology and communications to our fighting is important, whether it's in space, whether it's our phones, whether it's the interconnectivity of our data. So everybody's trying to turn your stuff off. So the Chinese knew that this weather balloon was going to be found at some point. So there's probably no physical technology on there that actually we don't know about, but the software that it was using. And were they testing whether they can operate? And they knew that once we found it, NSA and FBI and everybody was going to do what's called counter-electronic warfare. Prevent that thing from operating. And was the Chinese doing a field test of some kind of quantum communications, which can be done via software?